So today we're going to talk about Quant Network, a really solid asset, but ultimately, in my view, overvalued. I'm going to show you why in this video. Now let me just start with one thing. Risk reward. For me, in a bear market like this, in the market conditions currently what we face, buying this at these levels at over $200 is a bit of a stretch in terms of your reward. You're not going to get much out of it in terms of value if the market crumbles. You want to get fair value for your purchase. Your dollar cost average should be tight and it should be at support levels, not at these levels. So what is it? It's a really good enterprise blockchain. In certain respects, it is somewhat a competitor to the central bank government kind of bullshit coins that they want to bring out, if you've heard of those. This isn't really a fundamental video, it's more of a technical analysis in terms of price and getting fair value. I highly recommend you do your research. I have talked about this a lot in my Patreon over the last few weeks. It's a good asset. It's an asset that is on my watch list. So I know I don't talk about projects publicly. A lot of people whinge at that, but I don't like to for obvious reasons. I don't want to get people hyped up. Today is more about putting the cold water on that hype because I do feel that we are going to get stung a little bit if you are not careful with your risk management here. Let me explain. Going over to YouTube, putting in Quant Network and putting a filter in over the last month, we're starting to get some really daft videos right now. Very, very daft. Someone predicted an $85,000 coin, which is redonkulous in itself, right? You have to be careful with the elements of this. Now, a lot of people will say this, and I massively disagree because of one big flaw. A lot of people say that the market cap of an asset doesn't exist or it doesn't matter. Well, technically no, in a way, because you can just make as many coins as you possibly can. You can make a quadrillion amount of coins, inflate the price. But the biggest flaw with this, and I've said it just then, there is one: liquidity. How can you get liquidity out? So yes, you may well find that an asset may go massively up in price, but there has to be a buyer, there has to be a seller for every transaction in any market. Right now, there's a lot of buyers versus sellers. That will change. It will change because people who bought at like very, very low amounts of dollars, every single time it goes up that price point, they're getting a multiple. That multiple will then mean they're making more money. Therefore, they will eventually take profit. So be careful with what you see on YouTube at the moment. It's very hyped. I am probably the only bearish video on price at the moment. Now, that doesn't mean I'm bearish on the project. A lot of good, fundamentally sound projects are great, but their price does not correlate. This could be the same thing. It could be overvalued. It's the same with any stock market asset, any crypto asset, whatever asset in the world that you may like or want. Some things get hyped. It just happened, right? So just be careful. Let's look at it. Tweeted about it the other day, and you probably notice I'm now into the dark mode again because I was finding it very hard for people to see the blue and the grey candles, right? So when we're looking at this, massively gone up. Now I put this on Twitter, take profit roughly around here, because it is a level of significance. It's also a psychological area where we have broken down before, we've also pumped from, right? So that's a big point. We have exhausted over it, in my opinion. Now, yes, obviously we can go much higher. That doesn't mean you got to buy it, right? Put it that way. Taking profit means taking a little bit off the table. If you bought sub $60 and you've not taken like 20% off, with the opportunity to either keep that, do whatever the hell you want with it, you probably should be. A lot of people get into the habit of going, it's just going to keep going up. It's just going to keep on going. It doesn't always happen though. I've seen this so many times. I've been caught out myself loads by this sort of behavior. You got to be somewhat careful. Now, if we're looking at the overall structure of the market, in my opinion, yes, we can go much higher. Of course we can. But also we've got to look and bear in mind the fact of certain Fibonacci levels we've went and extended to. Often these ones are quite stretchy. These ones usually do happen. We have blown through it. There is another one in between which is not highlighted on here. Now, for fundamental facts here, this doesn't change the underlying core element of the asset. It's just value. It's hype. It's just interest, right? In a bear market, this is the only thing many people have got to grab hold of. So what do? You should be taking some profit, certainly if you were buying down here. It's kind of obvious when I say that. It's like I'm teaching how to suck eggs in some cases. To the people that don't agree with me, crack on, right? If you bought at $100 and you're hoping to make mega money, crack on, right? If you're looking to make a 10x, you're looking at $1,000 per coin, right? Which is probably somewhat of a stretch in terms of market cap valuation in the current market conditions. Now, obviously, things can change. Now, if you want to look at certain things Learning Crypto has a coin perspective on there, individual website which you can look at, and ultimately what you can do is you can find out roughly the market cap of certain things. Now, to some people, when we're looking at like that $85,000 level, that's already way beyond where we ever expect. In my opinion, if we're going to look for a solid asset, and you're looking for an asset where, you know, let's just have a little look at Polygon, for example, here. You know, yeah, for it to double its price in terms of Quant, it has to be 6.1 billion market cap. Quite a big stretch in a market like this. Obviously, yes, it's totally possible. What about the likes of BNB? Is it going to become a $44 billion asset anytime soon? Probably not. Certainly in the market conditions. It will eventually turn around. It usually does. And, you know, doesn't mean it's never going to do it. It's just the market condition, in my opinion, isn't correct right now. Unless massive things change in the overall market. The S&P changes, the Nasdaq changes, you know, policy changes of inflation, you know, they start printing money again and everything goes up. Even if that does happen, I'd still say that maybe 40 times your money in this situation is probably not going to happen because it's going to take some time. People think it's going to happen overnight. It's not. So what could happen here? What you should be doing is looking to, if you bought low, look for a place where you can take a bit of profit, probably around here to be fair, when you look left at all these kind of levels of resistance, which we've literally went back down on, right? Now, if that does happen, you can obviously use that capital to then buy back low, which is why I put some very, very clear and distinctive areas of where you can buy and potentially get some free units, right? Nothing wrong with that. What is wrong is you selling up here and then rebuying back higher because you've sold A, all of your bag, which you shouldn't do, and B, you got a bit of FOMO and you bought at the top and then you've sold and you've rebought back in or something daft. Losing your Quant tokens here could lead to much bigger losses in the future if the fundamentals stay sound and we go into a proper bull market. However, you always want to try and consolidate your position by having profit to be able to potentially, guess what, rebuy back low. Now, even if you're taking 10% out, 20% out, you've made money. You have made money in a bear market. To some people, that's rare. It probably is very rare for a lot of people. A lot of people probably watching this video have probably not made money for a very long time. So make sure you take that on board. If you have been buying this genuinely at these like low points here at 60 bucks and you've not taken anything off the table on a 3x gain, you probably should be doing something about it. And if you are able to then rebuy back low, even better. Now, looking at the worst case scenario here, and it does carry on going up and you want to buy this, you know, in reality, is it worth the risk buying right now for you potentially to make, say, as I said before, like a matic kind of market cap, double your money? Is it really worth it? Do you really think it's worth the risk of buying now for it to go to all-time high? It's probably, in my opinion, not worth the risk. I would rather wait and chill and relax. Like anything I have been doing in this market, I've been buying the lows, not the highs. You want to buy support levels. You want to not buy the resistance levels. You want to sell the resistance levels. That's key fundamentals of investing. So there we go. Video is done. It's a bit of a long kind of way of telling you just be careful here, because fundamentals can be great. Price can be bad, but price can also be overvalued and inflated. So make sure you take that on board. A lot of people are talking about this right now, which is why I'm doing a video. And most importantly, it's your capital, right? You need to factor in risk reward. Anyways, if you got this far, check out the links below if you want to learn more. And anyways, there's a video here that I'm going to share to you that may well help you in the world of investing.